the Chi-Town experience on the flight. Let me go tune in to Keek on the mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the likes.
A top Chicago Bears insider just gave some more intel about who he thinks the Chicago Bears will hire as their next head coach. Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Bears fans, before we go any further with today's episode of Keek on the Mic, I want to give a huge shout out to the sponsor of today's video, and that is BetUS. As always, Bears fans, make sure you guys head over to betus.com and use promo code YouTube150 for 150% deposit bonus up to $2,000, and also get 125% second and third deposit as well. Bears fans, I just want to show my gratitude for all the well wishes you guys sent my way as I was battling that virus. Everyone in my family was really sick, and I just want to make sure that you guys are doing well as well. I know that nasty virus is going around, so make sure you guys are taking care of yourself and your young ones as well. It definitely sucks to see the little ones get sick during flu season, but I'm feeling a whole lot better. So once again, thank you guys so much for all the love and support you guys were sending my way when I wasn't feeling at my best. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the Chicago Bears head coaching search. And first and foremost, I want to talk a little bit about the whole Mike McCarthy thing, right? Obviously, the Dallas Cowboys decided to let Mike McCarthy walk after denying the Chicago Bears access to interview him last week, which I don't know why Jerry Jones did that. It really makes no sense, but the Bears are going to get to interview him in person, which is very significant if you ask me. As soon as tomorrow at Hallis Hall. But I want to give my 2 cents on Mike McCarthy for this simple reason. Bears fans, stop acting like Mike McCarthy is an absolute bum. And I'll be the first one to say, Bears fans, he is not my top choice either. But if we don't land a guy like Ben Johnson or Cliff Kingsbury, right, then yeah, I think Mike McCarthy would be a very good option to be the next Chicago Bears head coach. Yes, he's 61 years old, but when you look at the resume that Mike McCarthy has under him, it's pretty impressive. First and foremost, he has done really well in grooming young quarterbacks. He has an outstanding resume. You're talking about Aaron Rodgers. You're talking about Dak Prescott. Don't forget that Dak Prescott was playing at an MVP level. He was second in MVP voting just as soon as last year, right? So when you look at Mike McCarthy in that sense, it makes a lot of sense. When you look at his resume as a coach from 2006 to 2018, he had 125 wins, 77 losses, and 2 ties as the Green Bay Packers head coach, a 10-8 postseason record, won a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers. Then from 2020 to 2024, went 49-35 as the Dallas Cowboys head coach. Did have a 1-3 postseason record, so that's definitely not good. Definitely fizzled out in the postseason, but he also had 3 straight seasons going 12-5. When people sit here and say that Mike McCarthy, for example, has his flaws, yes, he does. All coaches have his flaws. All coaches have their flaws. Ben Johnson has his flaws. Cliff Kingsbury has his flaws. Matt Eberflus had his flaws. But the one thing that Mike McCarthy does do is that he develops young quarterbacks. He knows how to call an offense, and he wins. Yeah, he only has 1 Super Bowl to his name, but that's more than a lot of coaches out there, right? Mike McCarthy wins. If he was to be the next Chicago Bears head coach, I would trust him to develop Caleb Williams. I know there would be some question marks about, the long-term plan. I understand that he is 61 years old, but I think that he would put Caleb Williams in the best situations to succeed. And I think he would make us competitive for the most part. Do I think he would come and win us a Super Bowl? That would remain to be seen. Right? I think all the pieces would have to come together. I know that Mike McCarthy would bring a really good coaching staff with him. So that would obviously be a bonus to hire a guy like Mike McCarthy. Obviously, it fits the bill of what Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren are probably kind of wanting, or maybe let me say Kevin Warren wants in his next head coach for this organization. A guy that has proven experience, not only calling the offense, but proven experience developing young quarterbacks, and a guy that can consistently win, right? Once again, he went 8 straight years to the postseason with the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, created a winning culture there. He went 19-7 against the Chicago Bears, right? He had a 60% winning percentage in the regular season. He's 11-11 in the postseason. So when I see Bears fans kind of just bashing Mike McCarthy, I understand it may not be your top option, but it could be worse. The Bears could hire Anthony Weaver. The Bears could go out and hire Drew Petzing, right? The Bears can go out and hire Mike Kafka. No, I think Mike McCarthy would be a better option than all those guys. This is what would irritate me if the Chicago Bears did this. Let's say the Chicago Bears had an opportunity to hire Ben Johnson, meaning Ben Johnson chose the Chicago Bears, but then the Bears opted to hire Mike McCarthy over Ben Johnson. That's what would irritate me. But if Ben Johnson opts to choose the Las Vegas Raiders over the Chicago Bears and Mike McCarthy was their second option, then yes, I would be very happy with Mike McCarthy. Once again, is he my first option? Absolutely not. But let's not sit here and bash Mike McCarthy. Give him his flowers. He wins. He does. And yes, maybe when you look at his Dallas Cowboys tenure, it fizzled out in the playoffs. He went 1-3 in the postseason. But why are we talking bad about a team that went to the postseason consistently? The Bears don't go to the postseason consistently. We don't win consistently. So if Mike McCarthy was able to come here to the Chicago Bears and create a winning culture and develop Caleb Williams the right way, to me, that's all that matters. Once again, Bears fans, this is not an endorsement for Mike McCarthy, but I'm just saying that if we weren't able to land Ben Johnson, I would be very okay with Mike McCarthy, because one thing I do know about him, he does win. So here we go, Bears fans. Now moving on, and as always, you guys can comment down below and just give your thoughts on Mike McCarthy, and if you guys would be okay with the Bears hiring Mike McCarthy if, in fact, we don't land a guy like Ben Johnson, Joe Brady, or maybe another guy that you may want the Bears to land. So once again, we're going to talk a little bit about Jeff Hughes of the Bears blog. This is one of the top Chicago Bears insiders out there. I want to give a huge shout out to him, and also a huge shout out to the Irish Bear Show. If you have never checked them out, they also produce very engaging Chicago Bears content. So I love to show love to my other Chicago Bears content creators as well. But once again, he went on to the Irish Bear Show to talk about everything going on with the Chicago Bears and who he thinks the next Chicago Bears head coach will be. I want to flash you guys back a little bit, because 3 years ago in 2022, I'm at this exact same time, Jeff Hughes of the Bears blog went on the Irish Bear Show to talk about the fate of GM Ryan Pace. He stated without preamble that the Chicago Bears plan to fire the general manager and seek a replacement. Just a couple hours later, the news broke that Pace was indeed out as Chicago Bears GM, which gave Jeff Hughes of the Bears blog a lot of credibility. So what I'm going to do right now is show you a clip from this show, from the interview with the Irish Bear Show and Jeff Hughes of the Bears blog. And once again, listen to what he has to say, because a lot of stuff that he's saying, he's not just saying for clicks. He has connections, not only with certain camps, not only from head coaches, but also Ryan Poles' camp as well inside the Chicago Bears organization. So check out what Jeff Hughes of the Bears blog had to say.
Who do you think is going to be the head coaching hire for this team? Will they botch the hire, like you said, or will they get it right? Will they get the guy that you think that can really help develop this quarterback, where we are not looking at a quarterback that's a different guy in 3 years' time?
Ben Johnson is my prediction. I think the things I've heard from Ben's camp, the things I've heard from Ryan's camp, they're on the same page. Mm-hmm. I fucking hate that Kevin Warren has any input in this decision. I really do. I'm not a Kevin fan for a lot of reasons that I'm hearing inside the building. And I just hope that Kevin stays the hell out of it, no matter who the decision is. I do think it'll be Ben Johnson, and he's a terrific hire for Caleb Williams.
So obviously, Bears fans, those two words are going to make you really happy, especially if you want Ben Johnson to be the next head coach of the Chicago Bears. I feel for a lot of Bears fans that he is the front runner for a lot of Bears fans, right? And rightfully so. What he's been able to do with Jared Goff's outstanding. What he's been able to do with the Detroit Lions offense over the last couple of years has been outstanding, and it seems primed that the Bears have been the front runners for the last couple of months to land Ben Johnson's services and make him the next head coach of the Chicago Bears. Obviously, we're still dealing with some competition with the Las Vegas Raiders and Tom Brady, but Jeff Hughes has said time and time again of the sources that he's been hearing from Ryan Poles' camp, the sources that he's been hearing out of Hallis Hall, the stories that he's been hearing from Ben Johnson's camp as well, just like he said on his segment on the Irish Bears show, that he still believes that Ben Johnson will be hired as the next head coach of the Chicago Bears. And now let's really talk about this, because I think it makes a lot of sense. The Chicago Bears' interest in Ben Johnson dates back to the middle of 2023. There's been a lot of sources and rumors out there saying that Ryan Poles started doing homework on Ben Johnson the moment that he felt that Matt Eberflus was on thin ice. And there's a lot of rumors out there saying that Ryan Poles wanted to fire Matt Eberflus prior to this season and bring in Ben Johnson. And that's the reason why Ben Johnson went back to Detroit, because the only job that he wanted was the Chicago Bears job. And it seemed like things are the same this year as well. And now I think they're just letting the process play out. I think Ben Johnson is just doing his due diligence as well. Listening to what the Raiders had to say, listening to what Jacksonville had to say. Obviously, New England went in a different direction, hiring Mike Vrabel as their next head coach. But I think Ben Johnson was trying to do his due diligence, seeing what's the best fit for him. But I think at this moment, Ben Johnson's done interviewing. He's going to let the process play out. He's going to finish his duties as the Lions offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. Let's remind ourselves, Bears fans, that Ben Johnson can accept, or a team can't hire Ben Johnson until the Detroit Lions are out of the playoffs. And I understand that's a risk for the Chicago Bears. And this is when I really realized what the Chicago Bears are actually doing, because at the beginning of this coaching search, when they kept, trying to handpick candidates, right? Saying, hey, we want to interview this guy. We want to interview this guy. We want to interview Marcus Freeman from Notre Dame, Mike Kafka, right? All these candidates. And then the list goes on and on and on. What the Chicago Bears are doing is dragging this out. And of course, they're trying to have some backup plans as well. Some strong candidates like Pete Carroll, Mike McCarthy, so on and so on. But I think they're trying to drag this process out, because it could be very well that they do want Ben Johnson, but they understand that the Detroit Lions are a huge threat to make it all the way to the Super Bowl, which means if they do make it all the way to the Super Bowl, the Chicago Bears wouldn't be able to hire Ben Johnson until the day after the Super Bowl. So I think the Bears were just trying to do their due diligence and just have a long list of candidates to not only drag out this process to hopefully wait for Ben Johnson, but at the same time, make sure you have strong candidates if you do not land Ben Johnson as well. So to me, it's just a waiting game at this point. But I do want to make it known once again that Jeff Hughes of the Bears blog has some very strong and credible sources. If he continues to say that, the Bears are going to land Ben Johnson, even after all the stuff you've been hearing about Ben Johnson and the Raiders, I am going to choose to believe the guy that has nailed many different updates and rumors and reports on the Chicago Bears in the past. So you can choose what you want to believe. You can, take what Jeff Hughes of the Bears blog has to say with a grain of salt, and that's totally up to you. But I'm going to continue to choose to believe that the Bears still have a very strong chance in landing Ben Johnson as the next head coach of the Chicago Bears. And once again, going back to the beginning and what I had to say at the beginning of the video, if we don't land Ben Johnson, I'll be totally okay with Mike McCarthy as the next Chicago Bears head coach as well. So as always, Bears fans, before I let you guys go, let me ask you guys this. How do you feel about what Jeff Hughes of the Bears blog had to say on the Irish Bears show? Let me know down below what you're thinking in the comment section. But as always, Bears fans, make sure you guys continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Geek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. And once again, make sure you guys head over to betus.com and use promo code YouTube150 for 150% deposit bonus up to $2,000, and also get 125% second and third deposits as well. But other than that, be back for all new Bears podcast right here on Geek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Geek on the Mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Geek on the Mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Geek on the Mic.